Welcome back. We hope you missed us, because we missed us.
I didn't miss any of this.
I forgot about the show completely, actually. Welcome back to Two Birds in a Pod, on a couch, not 6 feet apart, on a couch.
Breaking all the rules. Except we're not in a big gathering, it's just the two of us.
Yep, but, people our size.
Once we get up, we're going to have to adjust a lot of things.
Actually, with people our size, is actually a small gathering.
This is a small 8-person gathering right now on this couch.
We're in Nick's new apartment, on a couch.
Hey! The casting couch.
The big comfy couch.
The big gray couch of knowledge.
Roll the credits.
Back after a 2-month hiatus.
Has
Two Beards in a
Has it
Pod.
been that long?
It's been just about 2 months.
I completely forgot about this shit
The
show
last
for a few
show
minutes- for a few
we
minutes.
did was before my birthday, and that was March 13th.
Was it really?
Yeah. We were going to do a birthday episode, and then the world ended.
Wow. It's been almost 2 months.
It's been pretty much 2 months. It's May 20th today, so
April. Yeah.
it's been 2 months. See, he had to count. He had to make sure. Which month are we in? Quarantine will do that
Take
to
my
you.
shoes off.
Quarantine does that to you. You forget what day of the week it is, what time it is. I mean, if I wasn't working, I still probably wouldn't even know where the hell I am right now.
I unfortunately got laid off.
Yes. Well, let's rewind back here a little bit.
All right.
I think what's the point of today's episode here is really to kind of address the 2-month-long elephant that's been in the room.
Yes.
It's been 2 months too long, I feel like, at this point. Well, maybe at least a month
It's
too
been
long.
it's been a month too long.
We're talking about the coronavirus today. I mean, I think it's what everyone's talking about. What
Also
everyone
known as the apocalypse.
Yes, COVID-19. The virus has sent Dan home.
Yes.
He
Said the members of my gym home.
That's just really what's been going on. I mean, I think it's kind of important that everyone kind of talks about, what's going on.
I feel like everybody's just been, waddling in the fact that we can't do anything.
It's been tough to really do much of anything anymore because everything's closed.
And even when stuff began to open back up, like big box stores, or even the big box stores that didn't close, all the restrictions, guidelines you have to follow now, the virus put a giant black mark on everything.
Pretty much. I mean, it's been like this, with no end in sight really for almost 2 months.
Yeah, there really isn't any real peel back to let's go back to regular normal life again.
Well, let's do this in a piece by piece kind of discussion here.
Right.
Let's talk about, first of all, do you think all the restrictions that are currently going on are still necessary at this point?
Well, I think at the beginning it was necessary and a good idea, so that you could be sure you didn't get it. Contracted,
especially when it's new. I feel like that was important.
When it was brand new, everybody was like, "What the hell is this?" And all the restrictions were a good idea,
right?
And then as it went on, and we got more information, which more information comes out every day.
I mean, you literally cannot turn a radio, a television, your phone on.
That's another thing. It might be a bit sheltered of me to say, but I am tired of hearing about it. I'm not saying hearing about the virus, how it's going, and what's being done, but every day is just the same exact stuff being said.
That's kind of the thing. It's the rotating camera of just constant, you know.
So unless yes, we gotta wear a mask. Yes, you gotta be 6 feet away. Yes, you can't be in large gatherings or even small gatherings, but I'm looking for new information.
Like, that's what I was going to say. I think the daily press conferences that they're doing at this point are kind of pointless. They shouldn't really be having these daily conferences unless they legitimately bring new news every time.
Yes.
I'm tired of watching our governor constantly go, data determines dates. That's the thing I hate.
Yeah.
It's one of the things. There's two things he says that I cannot stand anymore. Data determines dates, and I hate when he says, we're not doing anything until we've broken the back of the coronavirus. Now, we hit the apex, or what they considered to be the apex of the disease, back in April.
Yeah.
I think it was something like 3.5 weeks ago now at this point. Roughly 3.5 weeks. The thing is, we really haven't seen much of a rollback on what's restricted. When they first brought this up, and I know I'm going to kind of sound like David Portnoy, Barstool Sports, Barstool Pizza Review.
El Prez, baby.
Yeah, El Presidente. So if you're watching this, we really appreciate it, Dave. You're probably not going to.
I gotta say, Dave Portnoy isn't known for being smooth. He's known for being harsh.
Oh, he's tougher than a cheese grater.
Yeah. But I have to say, I agree with his sentiment.
The thing becomes is everyone was mentally prepped to flatten the curve. That was everyone's pitch when this all started.
We were all on board with that.
Right.
Yes, we will do our part to help lessen it.
Absolutely. But the thing becomes is they've changed the whole focus of everything. We went from, just let's flatten the curve and, let's get the number of cases down so that we have enough spaces in the hospital, to going now to, now we can't do anything until we have a cure. No one is really anywhere near a cure. They're testing
That
vaccines
just means
out.
that the end of it, not even the end, but the over the hill, the top of the hill has gotten farther away, has gotten higher up now, because there's just there's no way of telling.
It almost feels like any time that any kind of real social progress has been made with this, that they kind of pull the cape away from you a little bit every time.
They do.
They tell you, let's get the cases down to this number. And less people are being hospitalized, less and less people are dying from it.
The mortality rate of this disease in almost every country is 98, 97 to 99%, and even more than 90%. The mortality rate in the U.S. is 99 point something %.
Right. So you're saying what? That 99% of people die from it, or
no? Mortality means how many people live from it, how many recover.
I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be considering other
people.
people.
I'm not saying we shouldn't be considerate, be careful, or be concerned. But I think that the amount of extreme, this is gonna be terrible. Everybody's gonna die. There's no end in sight is a bit much, because it's destroying the fabric of life that we had before. And I'm not saying that. I hope it goes back to normal. It really does. And I hope that I hope things get better. But even if this thing doesn't. Even if this virus brings a little bit of a new guideline to life, how we were before March is how we were before. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah. The problem becomes is that now, obviously, we've all kind of adapted to this so-called new normal. They're all calling it the new normal.
I'm kind of with our one friend on this, that the new normal should not be what it's called.
Right, which I understand. The thing becomes, though, is that we've realized in this 2-month period now that things, business, lifestyle-wise, they can be compromised a little bit. That it's not going to change everything about what's going on. I think we can both kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
The problem is becoming now that certain things now, I'm going to change the conversation a little bit here. Certain things in preparation, obviously, for this coming holiday, which is Memorial Day. That's 3 days from now. Today's Thursday. It'll be
That's not going to be a regular Jersey Shore Memorial Day, I'll tell you that.
No, the thing is, they want to get all those businesses that profit off of it almost open.
Yeah.
But you still can't go in restaurants. You still can't go in and eat. You still can't gather.
No.
The beaches have very strict restrictions if they are.
So when are even worth going to a beach?
Most of them, you can't stay on the beach. You can't gather in groups. You can't really go swimming. I mean, because the coronavirus is known to gather in the ocean.
I have one general thought around all of it, that the high contrast, like, you can't go anywhere or do anything. Like, you cannot go to work. Like, everybody not going to work and not earning money to be able to pay all their stuff is not sustainable. We talked about that before.
Right.
Like, you can't just send people home and then, like, not provide something to supplement the fact that they don't have any money to pay all their shit.
I mean, if the thing becomes...
And the fact that, like, if you just, like, because there are now, like, reports that people are getting it because they got closed up in their house.
Right.
So, like, they contracted it from not being out in the open. So, like, we should be able, like, I think we should be able to be out in the open, like, following all the guidelines and restrictions. Like, I mean, you should be able to go to the beach.
Let's turn this conversation now. We'll start talking about the unemployment part, because I think that's kind of like where this is going now.
Right.
The thing becomes is that back in, what was it, early April, the end of March, like early April, they started giving out the stimulus checks.
Yeah.
The federal government gave out $1,200 stimulus checks to anyone that was obviously a tax-paying citizen.
Anybody single made less than $75,000 a year.
Right.
Married couples who made more than that got $2,400.
Correct.
Yeah.
So basically, it was a lump sum for the two people.
Yeah.
The thing becomes is that the federal government doesn't have any kind of restrictions on state by state how to do this.
Yeah.
The state governments are the ones that have to decide this is how we're going to open. The president has said, he's basically leaving it up to the individual governors to come up with their own opening strategy. Now, I'm a firm believer in that, not everything should open up at once.
No,
like you shouldn't just let everyone out.
Not everything should just be like, okay, open up your doors. Everybody just go out and do stuff, because that's gonna.
However, my problem with what's going on right now is, at least in the state of New Jersey, I can't speak to the credit of all the other states. I don't really know 100% what's going on everywhere else.
Yeah.
In New Jersey right now, if you are currently unemployed because of any kind of coronavirus-related problems at your job,
yes,
you are getting, on top of your regular unemployment benefits, you're getting $600 due to the CARES Act, which is put in place.
That's
about what happened.
that I mean.
Right.
I got laid off, and I got the $600 bonus.
The thing becomes is that for a lot of people, especially people that own businesses, though they are allowing certain business owners, it's like certain restrictions on it, but they are, usually if you're a business owner in the state of New Jersey, you cannot collect unemployment if your business is not working, whatever, because technically you can't be unemployed because you employ yourself.
Yeah.
The problem with that is becoming now that these people that own businesses, though they may be making something for themselves, have no money to sustain their own business.
At all.
They're not making any kind of commerce, like Spark Creative right now.
My dad's business is very small, and he, because of the restrictions on, my dad's in construction, because of the construction guidelines and restrictions,
right.
I had to get laid off because you couldn't afford to keep me because he had such little going on at the moment, and now going on.
Right. It's even Spark Creative.
And for us, as you said, we lost a client.
We were losing people more so because our business is relying on businesses doing business.
Yes.
So with all these people currently not working,
we rely on businesses needing advertising and promotion for us to be able to do work for them.
Right, and since they're all closed,
there's nothing to promote or do.
You could promote certain curbside services, but then who are you going to sit down with to actually have the meeting now? Because you got to socially distance, you can't be within so many people, and it can't be in like a closed environment, and it's really wild to see kind of where we've gotten really in the last 2 months. There's no such thing as an open restaurant anymore. You go in and pick up, or you pull up out front, they bring you your food, and you leave. There's no staying there anymore. There's no hanging out. You really can't even honestly go out, because if you go out in groups, you can get fined. Like, it almost feels like you're living in a police state. I mean, here's the next part. I kind of think that brings us into like the next part of the discussion.
What?
Are we doing, or I shouldn't say are we, is the government of New Jersey now doing too much?
I think they are.
All right, so what makes you feel like they're doing too much?
I think that...
I'll say my piece after you say yours.
You say your piece first.
The problem becomes is that after a while, all these businesses, as we stated before, are slowly being able to reopen certain aspects of their business. They can't do anything where they actually do any kind of business within their place. Grocery stores are obviously open. Certain big box locations, like Dan said before, your Targets, your Walmarts, your main grocery store chains, some convenience stores, the post office, like things that are deemed essential to life. Now, my problem with that becomes is that you could go into these stores, which now, understandably so as well, have certain restrictions on, like, how you have to handle yourself in there.
Yeah.
You have to have a mask. You have to have certain preventative measures. If you have a fever, if you're sick, you're not supposed to be going in there. There are certain buildings that, if they're known for high volumes, they're only allowed to have half of that normal volume. Like, for instance, my store, I believe, has a maximum occupancy, I think, of 250
A
people.
lot of small stores, maybe even medium stores, have a cap of 50 people.
Right. And then they have to do half of that because you have to allow for so
Yeah.
much space in between the people.
Yeah.
The thing becomes, though, that regardless, since this has all started, where I work, it's a chain grocery store. I'm not going to say what place. I mean, I think if you guys know me, you know where I'm talking about. The problem becomes is that now all these people that have nowhere to go, nothing to do, nowhere to be, are going to the store.
Yeah.
And they're still getting too close and hanging out, and that's like their social gathering now.
Yeah.
The problem becomes is if that can be allowed to run legally, why can't somewhere like a salon open or a gym? Because even like Dan and I were discussing this before, if you're in a gym, you're not going to be standing right on top of the
Nobody
people
in
working
a
out.
gym is close to each other unless even if you're with somebody working out, you're not close to each other,
No.
and we're all constantly cleaning stuff up.
Absolutely, it's part of regular gym regulations. I don't.
It's just gym etiquette. So in
Yeah.
a way, gyms could be a cleaner environment. Maybe like at a certain given time, maybe it's like kind of nasty, but my gym owner is constantly making sure that the gym is clean, and she yells at people for not wiping down their stuff.
I mean, you can't be anywhere that's more distanced apart either, because who the hell wants to be in front of a guy or a girl that's got heavy weight over their head and could drop it at any time? That's not safe for you. So regardless of what's currently going on, I mean, there were just general social restrictions in tap, just because of that.
In my opinion, I think that at the beginning of all this, yes, the government was doing what they could, and I think that helped.
Right, because
In a
it's a
way.
new situation. You
But-
don't really know what to expect.
But at this point, I think that it should be like, and some people don't agree with this school of thought, but I think that a little bit of personal responsibility and personal consideration should be taken place. If you're a business and you feel like you're about to go underwater and die and not have any because you have no revenue because you lost out on 2 months of business. If you want to open, you should be able to open while being cognizant of the virus and the restrictions and the guidelines.
Right.
And if you're just a person and maybe you got hired back from work, maybe you're just tired of being stuck at home all the time and you want to go out. If you follow all the stuff and you want to go to a pizza place, then you should be able to. If you don't want to go out because you're still kind of freaked out about all of it, and if you're a senior citizen my grandparents are in the dead zone of, that's a poor choice of words, but they're
in the special zone. We'll call it.
they're in the eye of the hurricane.
They're in that age group.
They're in the eye of the hurricane. My grandma likes to call themselves the endangered species because they're in the mid 70s to the mid 80s, and they're just a higher risk. So my grandparents don't go anywhere. But I feel like if you're not part of that group and if you're a business owner or a person and you don't feel like you're going to cause any harm, then you should be able to open or go somewhere.
Obviously, there's going to be some restrictions no matter what.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
things you can't.
But I
prevent.
feel like you should be able to open, and I feel like be constricting everything for too long. It's not sustainable. It's just not. And I'm not saying that the lives of people are less important than a business opening, because guess what? People own and work for businesses. So I'm not saying that a business is more important than a person.
But realize all the chains have still been open.
But the matter of fact is that small businesses need to be open because they're not a big box store. They don't have the type of revenue to just be able to like close for 2 months.
Most of these
My
single-
gym. I'm sorry, but my gym got shut down, and she couldn't. She's been closed for 2 months now, and a bunch of us members started a GoFundMe for her, but like she almost couldn't cover the bills for April. Just like small businesses like are what a lot of people are talking about when they say, "Oh, I'm not some idiot who just wants to be able to go get a haircut. I want people like my business. I want like
Come on, use your words. You got it.
small businesses are different from big box stores because from what I said before, like they can't just have no revenue for 2 months.
Well, yeah, because then they have corporate backing and stuff like that. The big boxes. The problem is with these smaller businesses, like especially a lot of these restaurants and everything, they miss their peak season.
Yeah.
The spring was their peak. You know, that's when everyone.
You can't
starts to
close
come
a
back.
shore town down for the summer. It's gonna just destroy everything.
I mean, you know, I don't know what the grand motif is behind it or anything, but the thing is, a lot of these smaller businesses, I mean, I can't imagine that a lot of them are doing so much to a point where it's like, you know, you would really even have to take all these guidelines into consideration, but you gotta start, the thing is, right now where we're at, I feel like it's moving too slow. I feel like like I've said before, you can't just throw caution to the wind and open everything tomorrow. That's not the way to go.
It has to be steps.
In stages, but the thing is, the stages that we currently have are too.
I don't think we've made enough progress for the amount of time that we've been doing this.
The governor says on all these press conferences, you know, there's a roadmap, and like, you know, we got to get to this stage before we get to this stage and stuff like that. But like, it's so vague, like how they word it and how they put it. Like, what does this really mean?
What are you even talking about?
You know, for being a citizen of the state, or being a tax-paying citizen at that, you really don't have any kind of real knowledge on what.
Yeah.
It changes like every day. Like, you know, are we doing the right thing? And then the numbers are seemingly at least going down from what I've seen. The numbers, cases of people that are testing positive, to people that are going to the hospital, to deaths. It's just the thing is. And I'm not downplaying, because a lot of people seem to think that, you know, when you have any kind of comparison point here, that you're downplaying the current situation. I am not trying to downplay the severity of the disease. I know people that have had it.
Neither of us are.
No. I've known people that have had it. I've known people that recovered. I've heard of people, I know friends of friends that have died, or, you know, have family members that have died, or are on respirators, or, you know, what have you with this. I mean, there's a lot of different places you could go to. The problem becomes is that seasonally, there are things, and again, I'm trying not to sound insensitive. I promise that I'm not like, you know, just going off the deep end on discussion here. The flu kills a lot of people every year, but I've been around for almost 30 years now, and I don't remember one year where they were really like, you know, you gotta cover up when you go out. Like, there was one year with the swine flu. Remember the swine flu? H1N1?
Yeah, I do.
That was really bad. But people were still going out. There was no masks. There were no gloves. There was no panic. There was no ballistic shields in front of registers when you go to freaking check out.
I have one sort of fringe opinion about all this. And I think that this hysteria that the media has created and the government has created is meant to put some control on us.
I mean, it's the only thing I could think
I
of.
hate to be one of those people who have like the weird fringe opinions, but part of me just believes that.
It probably does sound a little wild and crazy. I mean, you know, maybe it's the fact that we've been off for 2 months and we really had much to talk about, but...
I also just don't like the government, so...
Well, you're also a libertarian. The party doesn't believe in what the party wants, but...
Our own party isn't what our own party even promotes.
Just, the thing becomes is that there's a lot going on, and there's really not a lot of...
It's too much negativity going on for too long.
Right. And
the positive that pops up once in a while just goes right back down and gets covered up by all the shit.
The thing is, you could literally ask people who have, like, you know, 50, 60 years or senior. I mean, you know, we're almost 30, so, I mean, you're going to see someone that's 80, 90 years old.
Yeah.
They have never experienced anything like this. Some of them might have, like, you know, remembered, like, you know, being told about, like, the
Yeah.
Spanish flu from back in 1920, but
Yeah.
the restrictions still weren't that bad.
There's the kind of
At least
restrictions
that I've heard of.
the restrictions that are going on are almost unprecedented.
Yeah. There were like people could literally that are in their 70s, 80s, and better will literally tell you now that they have never once in their life experienced anything like this. And think about the kind of technology that we have, the information that's available to us now, the medical advances that we made, and where we're kind of at just doesn't make sense to me. Again, I'm not like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but like
I try not to be.
there's just too much about it to me that's just not making sense.
And if
Maybe it's just because the hair on my head's getting too heavy. I don't know.
yeah, you need a haircut, man.
I do likewise.
Yeah. I like to just be clear. Let me be clear. We hope we don't wish.
Let me be clear here.
Let me be clear.
Joe Biden is running for president.
Joe Biden has forgotten where he is.
I'm running for governor of Indiana.
I'm ready for head caddy and Caddyshack. We don't wish it upon anybody. We hope nothing negative happens to anybody. But the fact of the matter is, things have to go back.
You can't keep millions of people caged up forever and
especially in this country, if you do, you're gonna have some negative
lashing.
You're gonna have some backlash.
The problem becomes is that there really hasn't been a place that's had a happy medium yet. There are places that are just
We're only a step up of the bottom.
pretty much.
We haven't even made it halfway.
No, the thing is, like, we literally are just starting to get our feet wet in this state. Like, liquor stores could stay open, but I guess I kind of understand why.
Liquor stores can stay open, but my gym can't stay open.
They're reopening golf courses for single-player play, but we can't go out to a place that's been sanitized and reused hundreds of times,
I gotta wonder what New Jersey's definition of essential is.
Well, it's just kind of the problem now. Like,
I will forever argue that gyms are essential. If you don't like exercising in the gyms, shut up. Nobody cares.
It's just.
I'm also just angry that my gym's been closed for 2 months and I only got access to weights like a month ago. So bear with me.
Dan's resorted to bench pressing his car on his spare time.
Oh God!
He threw out his back.
God.
He's done.
I'm so rusty.
Your form was terrible.
It was. I gotta work on some shit.
But just like I guess the point here of our return back to shooting and our incoherent rambling.
Murphy.
Yeah. Fuck you, Phil Murphy. No, I'm just kidding. You're a terrible governor. That's kind of the point here. No. The thing is, there is no uniform answer, I think. That's really what it is. The problem is you can't do like these other states, I feel like, that are just reopening and just going back into it. I definitely think it needs to be tiered.
The brand ambassador I'm a part of for the company called Patriotic Pump. There's a lot of people in that.
Aiken 15.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from California that ambassador for the company, and the stuff that's going on in California is so much worse than New Jersey.
Their governor's horrible.
Guideline wise, everyday shit wise,
Famous people are leaving that state now. Joe Rogan being one of them. Joe Rogan, please subscribe to us.
Honest, very quick side note. Joe Rogan made a deal with Spotify to be exclusive to Spotify for $100 million fucking dollars.
And we weren't even offered 10 cents.
We weren't even offered a Wawa gift card. It hurts. It hurts.
But just think about it. He was considering leaving California because of the restrictions. Like, he was thinking about moving to Texas.
Joe's been saying he wants to leave California for a while.
Elon Musk and Tesla.
It's because he's got too much alchemy laying around to package up and go bring it elsewhere.
It's just, it's like unbelievable. Like, it's just, I've heard that their restrictions are even worse than ours. I've heard, and ours are pretty bad, I feel like.
Yeah. I've read some of the California ones, I'm just like, dear God.
Like, I get it, we're not all going to be able to go out tomorrow to a restaurant and sit on top of one another and, just go back to life as it was, but I just feel like we've kind of hit a point where it's like, you got to start allowing some people to go back to their lives. Because as we kind of been beating the point to death, but I'm going to reiterate it anyway, if you're a small business owner, kind of like how we are, and it could be any kind of business, a restaurant, coffee place, salon, some kind of
A custom
fitness.
oboe shop.
Yeah, hell, a freaking thrift shop for all that really makes a difference here.
Yeah.
The problem's becoming is that these people are literally, though they may be making some kind of money from the financial institutions that are
It will not last.
it's going to run out at some point. It's
Very
just
quickly.
people have to realize that for some of these people, this is literally their life's work.
And it's hard for some people to grasp the fact that small businesses aren't like Target, where like they don't have just like the ability to not be open.
Oh yeah, Mike, with the inventory and stuff like that, just businesses can't afford that.
Small businesses have very little as it is.
We, as a small business owners ourselves,
Yes.
we've learned that you're really not just ever on your own. You kind of work almost like as a network to other people.
Yes.
You're always going to deal with other smaller businesses, smaller suppliers,
Yes.
stuff like that. But you all are kind of reliant on the success or failure of the other.
We're
parts.
not big corporate fat cats that a lot of people our generation hate.
Right. The problem becomes is with a lot of these businesses, if one part of the business is not doing well, you're going to tank a whole part of almost society.
Yeah.
So we're not saying that, the solution is let everyone go back out and blow out the freaking cold smoke.
We're just asking for more progress to be made.
That's really
Or
what we're
at
looking
least
for.
more feedback as to what's actually happening. Instead of just like, just keep wearing your masks and don't go outside and stay 6 feet apart if you do go outside.
And less gloom and doom, for God's sakes. Who the hell needs all these press conferences every day? Are you going to say something different? If you're not saying anything different, what are you wasting our time?
If you're gonna say the word mask, don't have the press conference.
That's the other thing, too.
We all know.
And it's just the personal protective
The new every day is carrying a mask in your car so you don't get yelled at and you can't go inside a store.
Dude, the people with the mask and the gloves drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Dude. Why? I don't wear gloves either. I work in a grocery store.
One other thing. I don't care if it's not right or wrong. Or it's not right.
Wrong, left, right.
Up, down, center. I will not wear the mask around my nose because when I exhale it fogs on my eyes and I can't see. I'll wear it around my mouth. I'll wear it up to my nose, but I'm not covering my nose.
That's
because then I can't see.
The people that drive me nuts, there are two people that absolutely drive me up the wall.
People that drive around with masks on.
People that drive with the masks on, that are by themselves too, because
I must protect against myself.
yeah, exactly. I'm protecting my car from myself.
I'm Captain Planet in my own car.
That and the people that wear the gloves to do everything. You do realize the purpose of the gloves is to protect you from touching certain things.
You're supposed to throw them out.
Once you do, like if you're driving with the gloves on, when you get out of that car, those gloves have to come off. You get a new pair of gloves.
Because then you're going to cross-contaminate the other stuff you touch when you get out of your car.
It's exactly what it is.
You're being counterintuitive.
You're basically, by doing that, see, here's the thing. If you're using the gloves, the purpose is that you could change them. So once you get out of your gloves, once you get out of your car, once you get out of your gloves, once you get out of your car,
glove compartment.
you have, once you open the compartment door, once you get out of your car, there are different germs in that car. So now if you're walking into, say, a store and you're grabbing a cart, whatever germs you had in your car are now in your
germs
cart.
into the other germs and fuck everything up.
And then now you shop and you touch all that stuff with that same pair of gloves and you bring it back into your car.
With your dirty ass hands, I see you.
Yes. The thing becomes is all those germs that you picked up from touching in the store and touching that cart and touching the pin pad that everyone uses every day, and it's disgusting. And then you put your hands on your steering wheel, everything that you just picked up is on those gloves.
I saw a meme once that was like, well, I'm glad there's plexiglass to protect me against the cashier, except for all the stuff they just touched that I now have to bring home.
And that was another thing too. Like my company had this thing where it's like, if someone goes to hand you money, you can't touch it.
Yeah.
So they want them to put it on the counter. Now here's the thing: if that person has the coronavirus and they're putting the money in their hands,
And
that bill's infected now. And if that bill hits my counter,
if that counter is disinfected,
it's getting the coronavirus, and then now you're spreading it even more.
everything is going to die.
The thing was, I said at the beginning of this, I think this is kind of a good point to kind of wrap this all up on. At the beginning of this whole, whatever the hell you want to call this, end of the world, Armageddon, whatever the frig you want to call it. The thing is, they had the opportunity then to close everything, stop the spread
And we both have
altogether.
the same opinion, like, shut everything the hell down, 2 weeks.
Everything.
Everything. Nobody can go on.
Essential,
Nobody can go
non-essential.
outside. Lights off, doors closed. Everybody go home.
No sex.
Well.
No sex. Cross contamination. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Dan.
Close everything down and just deal with it for 2 weeks, because the wishy-washiness of it all is part of what's causing all the back.
For the first 2 to 3 weeks, everyone was out of full force shopping.
Yeah.
So within those 2 weeks, if they could not get enough supplies to survive them for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
First. Second, the problem becomes is that, like I said before, now all these places become gathering places, and guess where most of the cases are starting? Your grocery stores, your convenience places, your gas stations. You know, that's if you put it to the people and you said from the beginning, hey, guess what? You can't do anything now. Guess what? You would have stopped the curve long ago in the beginning. Now we're too late into this to still kind of be like cherry picking. Oh, well, this one can stay open, but this one's got to be closed, you know?
Yeah.
The thing is, we have to, like Dan honestly just said, you got to stop being so goddamn wishy-washy. Are we going to start going back, or is this going to be like, we're going to hear like tomorrow, like recreational underwater basket weaving is back now. You could go and make baskets underwater as long as you're by yourself, you know, no mask or whatever, like, you know. Or are you going to start actually opening sectors of business? Because this type of business every week is really not going to work.
Because it's going to just, like, jam and collapse the economy.
And it's kind of already on its way to do that.
Yeah, hardcore.
We just ask is,
Two people that not only own our small business, but two people that have to currently live in this world.
Yes.
Some decisions got to be made here, and it's just not being made fast enough.
Somebody's gotta,
Someone.
You have to.
Someone, I don't know.
Someone, not us, but someone has to.
The thing is, we're not saying to take radical approaches to it, but you got to start, the ball's got to start turning somewhere.
Somebody's
wheels
got
gotta start moving.
somebody's got to roll the ball somewhere, somehow. Even just slowly.
Instead of hearing the whole data determines dates and break the back of the coronavirus every
Shut
day.
up, Murphy.
I don't know, like, the thing is, like, the people, and this is one last point I'm going to make and then I'm done. The people that say that his approval has shot up so much because of his handling the situation, what are you basing it on?
Yeah.
There's never been anything like this before. So how do you know that he's really handling it well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You really have, thank God we haven't had anything prior to this that really says, you know, like, well, according to the way so-and-so did it, you know, this is the best we've ever had. I guess some people believe that it's better to be more safe than sorry, but conversely to that, you know, being the head of the state, head of country, however you want to look at it, you got to eventually start moving towards what works best to keep everything kind of alive and moving.
Yeah.
Because if we wait, and then you slowly start letting stuff go back, you're only going to end up killing your own infrastructure, and people are going to start starving and not finding work.
Yeah.
That's how a depression happens. Bring in the 1920s here.
We didn't want this part of the 1920s back. We wanted the cool shit.
And we're just kind of almost dooming to repeat it, but for a different reason this time. It's weird. It's weird kind of having lived in this world. I know this has kind of been a gloomy and depressing episode, but I feel like this is kind of something we needed to do to kind of come back.
We had to talk about it somehow.
I mean, this is just one of those elephant in the room discussions that I just think needed to happen.
Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's thinking about it. Like, why not just discuss it openly?
Yes. And just remember, in this video, we referenced two people. Joe Rogan and David Portnoy. If either of you want to follow us, you know, we would appreciate that.
Oh, by the way, shout out to my girlfriend, Allie. Hi, Allie. Love you.
Hi, Callie. It's done now, and
Yay.
we actually have time because Dan doesn't work right now. He's
Yay.
leeching off the state right now. But
Yay.
we were thinking about some new shows. I wanted to also plug a new show that I have coming out shortly after the release of this. My brother-in-law, Ben, who does the show Brutally Honest with Ben,
Yeah.
he is changing up the format of his movie reviews. He's doing a show called Well, What'd You Think of That? And He basically what it is we're going to suggest movies for him to watch. He's going to tell you what he thought of it before, and then after he watches it, what he thought of it. And it's just going to be like fun and kind of interactive, and like
sounds fun.
he wants feedback. He wants you to tell him what to watch. Because then if he gets people's opinions on what to watch, he'll come back and he'll tell you what he honestly thinks of it. So we'd appreciate any kind of following on that. We appreciate any bit of sharing that you can do with this video for us. I mean, we're kind of getting back into it now. So
Yeah.
in the time that we were now given, because, quarantine.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. It's another episode of Two Beards in a Pod. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we do. Because now we're going to go back to doing nothing after this.
Yay.
So, do with that what you will.
I'm Dagan.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. My name is Nick.
Have a good day.